Hello viewers, welcome once again to another tutorial. In this tutorial, I'm going to teach you how to cut a trouser, a basic trouser. I'm going to implement a Nigerian pattern. I'm going to implement a Nigerian pattern. I'm not going to do the foreign style. But this one, it will give you, I guarantee you that it's going to give you a perfect result. Okay, so let's get started. First of all, we start by taking the length of the trouser. You are going to remove 1 inches from the length. Place it here, like so. Then you measure the length of the trouser. For this one, the length is 36 and a half. Then you're going to add 2 inches. You do the same to get a straight line. 36 and a half plus 2 inches. Mind you, I am using 37 instead of 36 and a half. So we have that. The next thing to do is to get the cross line. The cross line is the hip divided by 4, and the hip divided by 4 is 8.7. You are going to measure. I'm going to round it up to be 9 inches. So I'm putting 9 inches here. 9 inches. I did not remove, as you can see, I'm taking it from the tip like this to this point. I'm using 9 inches, okay, for the cross line. Okay, now we have the next line we're going to draw is the knee line. I'm going to use a calculated knee line. To calculate the knee line without using the measurement you measured, you're going to measure from here to here. We have 26.7. 26.7, that's 13.3. You go up 2 inches. 2 inches upward. That will give us 11.3. You mark 11.3 here. So when 2 inches upward, your hip measurement. The hip measurement is 8.7. 8.7 plus half inches will give us 9.2. It will give us 9.2. So I'm going to place 9.2. 8.7 plus half inches will give us 9.2. So 9.2. So you're going to draw your lines like this. You draw your lines like this. So you divide this point by 3. Divide it by 3. So if you divide here, 9 divided by 3 is 3. So we're going to mark 3 inches. That 3 inches, at this mark of the 3 inches, you go at 1 centimeter. 1 centimeter. You go at 1 centimeter. Then at this top of the waistline, you go at half inches. Half inches. You go at half inches. Connect it with a straight line. Connect it with a straight line. So then we're going to measure the lap line. So the lap is 21. You divide it by 2. Divided by 2. So mind you, because the trouser is going to be a free trouser, I may not use this lap measurement. This 21 lap measurement because it's tight measurement. So normally I will. Okay, so let's cut it according to how the trouser is going to be. It's going to be a free trouser. So we're going to divide the hip by 20. When you divide the hip by 20, it's going to give us 1.7. We're going to add half inches to it to give us 2.2. So we'll mark 2.2 here. We'll mark 2.2 there. So, but if you check, the lap measurement is going to be the lap measurement normally is 21. 21 divided by 2 is 10 and a half plus half inches will give us 11. Let's measure if we have 11 here. You can see that we have more than 11. More than 11. But this measurement, if you use this standard of dividing the hip by 20 and adding half inches seam allowance, sorry, half inches allowance is allowance, not seam allowance. By the time you use this, if you use this measurement, you are going to have a trouser that will be more comfortable for your client. So I'm using this one. I'm using this method. Mind you, there are different method. There are different method in cutting a trouser. There are different method. So I've joined it with a curve. The next thing to do is to come down with 1 inches. Come down with 1 inches. The waist is 30 divided by 4 will give us 7.5 plus half inches plus 1 inches will give us 8.5. So we're going to take that 8.5, measure it and mark it here. You can see our 8.5. Mark it here. You can see that is to get the shape of the waist. We're going to use a curve to connect it. You can see. So we have the front. So I'm going to connect this point to this point. So we're done with the top side of the trouser. Now let's cut the down side of the trouser. We're going to take 1 inches. 1 inches. And we add minus 1 inches from here. As you can see, we are minus 1 inches from there. We are going to draw a straight line. Straight down. We're going to draw a straight line. You can see I've drawn a straight line. Then the next thing to do is to put in the bottom measurement. We're using 16. Say 16 divided by 2 will give us 8 inches. Mark 8 inches here. Then for the M, we are going to do a simple trick. Use your straight ruler to connect these 2 points. You can see we have a straight ruler going down to the bottom M. Mark it. Mark it. Then remove the width of this tape. The width of this tape from that measurement. As you can see, I'll mark it. Then connect here with a straight line. Then use a curved ruler to connect this point. Use a curved ruler and do it like so. Use a curved ruler to connect it. As you can see, we are done with the drafting of the trouser. We are done with the drafting of the front of the trouser. So while you are going to cut, there's a few tricks for you to do when you're cutting. This downside, add quarter inch. Add quarter inch. As you can see, I've added quarter inch to each side. Okay. So when I want to cut, I will show you the way I will cut it. I cut about half inches below. So I'll show you guys then. When I'm cutting this point, I'm going to take quarter, then cut it straight. The same. pattern. So I'm done with the cutting. Then let me show you what I was talking about at the hem. Okay, now you see my actual mark is here, but I cut quarter inch extra, the same for the other side. And if you watch the down side, you will see that there's half inches above my actual measurement. This is correction to the local pattern. If it were the foreign pattern, you will not need this correction. So this is to make sure when you fold these trousers, when you fold it, as you can see, when you fold it, it will not give you equal measurements at the hem. You can see. So by the time you fold here over, you can see the reason for it, to give you accuracy. We're about to draft the back of the trouser. So in this back drafting, you are going to make sure you have at least 4 inches of space when you're arranging the front on the fabric. Like this one, we have enough. So let's start drafting. We're going to add half inches here. Half inches. Remember that this measurement here to here is 9. So we're going to measure that 9 and highlight it here. Yeah. So we have highlighted it. So what you now do is to connect this with a straight line. You can see, connect it with a straight line. We have connected with a straight line. Okay, so the next thing to do is to extend these lines. Extend it. Extend it. Extend it. Then remember, for the M, this ending part, we slant extra half inches. You are going to follow that line. You are going to follow that slant as the shape. Add 2 inches. Going to add 2 inches. Then add 2 inches. Then for the lap, you can just use standard. We can just put 3 inches here. 2 inches, 2 inches, then 3 inches. But if you want to calculate it, this is how you calculate it. Let's say, for instance, the lap is 21, just like we have here. The lap is 21, just like we have here. This to take the front measurement. Let's measure it, which is 11.6. We are going to place that 11.6 here at the edge of the material. Then you're going to measure the lap. The lap is 21. You're going to measure 21. You can see we have 21. We have 21 here. So you're going to add 4 inches to it. That will give us 1, 2, 3, 4. We'll mark here. You can see that is if you are calculating it by that, like that. But in this case, remember that when we're cutting the front, we did not use the lap of 21. We use a lap of 22 11.2, which is 22 and a quarter. So once you put that 11.6 here, 11.6 of the front measurement, you're going to measure 22 plus quarter, and you're going to add 4 inches to it. 4 inches to it. Now you will see that if you look at the tape at this point, the edge of the front panel, you see that we have 3 inches. That's the reason why we're using a standard of 3 inches. Standard of 3 inches. That's why we're using standard of 3 inches. So if you just put 3 inches there, it will work. If you put 3.5, it will be very, very comfortable for the client. Over comfortable. 3 inches will be very uncomfortable because that 4 inches you're adding, 2 inches is sewing allowance. The other 2 inches is ease allowance. Freedom around the lap. That's the extra 2 inches. So that's why I say you should add 3 inches. Yeah. So that's the calculation. So this is 3 inches, 2 inches, 2 inches. So we have that. So you can connect these lines now with straight line. You can see now we have that side. Then we're going to use the same curve as the front to get the back. The same curve we use for the front, we use it for the back. As you can see, we now have the back and the front cutting. So the next thing to do now is to draft the fork line, which is the back line, to connect to this point. So now let's draft that part. So remember we marked 3 inches for the hip line. We divide the crush by 3. 9 divided by 3 will give us 3. So we mark 3 inches here. So let me draw a line to show you what I'm about to do. So we draw the 3 inches. We draw this line. Go up on this side by 1 inches. This is your back hip line. Connect it like so. That is your back hip line. So on this back hip line, you're going to measure the front hip line. You're going to measure the front hip line. So this front hip gives us 9.7. 9 3/4. So we're going to take that 9 3/4. We'll place it the same way we do it for the lap. We'll place it here at the edge of the front. Then we're going to measure the hip. The hip is 35 plus 5 inches. That 5 inches, 3 inches is for 3 inches is for sewing allowance. 2 inches is for ease allowance. So that sewing allowance, 3 inches, ease allowance, 2 inches. So that is 5 inches. You're going to add 5 inches to the hip measurement. The hip measurement is 35 plus 5 inches. That is 40. 40 divided by 2 will give us 40 divided by 2 will give us 20. Why we divided this one by 2 and we did not divide it for the lap? You know the lap, the calculation for the lap division is by 2. The calculation for hip division is by 4. That we explain in another video. It will be a longer explanation. So we have 9.7 here. You're going to measure it. We are going to look for 20. We place 9.7 at the edge like this. Then we'll look for 20. Mark it. So we can still repeat this calculation for the same method for the hip, for the waist measurement. You add 5 inches to the waist, then divide it by 2. Then you measure the front waist, place it here, then you calculate it there. But me, I'll find the easier way to do it is to take this front measurement, then add half inches to it. So we're going to take this front measurement, which is 8.5. Then we'll add half inches to it, it will give us 9. So the back waist will give us 9. So this is the back waist will give us 9. So instead of me to mark it like this, I'm going to use a square instead. So we'll place this, look at the square, we have 9 inches here. We're going to place this 9 inches at this point. Then we're going to measure this edge of the material, this edge of the square roller, meet this point. So we'll do it like this, just for me to draw it now. As you can see now, we have gotten the calculation. So if you see now, you see we have about 2 inches of the waist measurement. We have about 2 inches. So the next thing to do is to add allowance. Here I'm adding 1 inches. Here I'm adding 1.5 inches. This is sewing allowance for the back. So you can see, extend this forward. Extend this forward, then we are going to take this measurement, the inner seam measurement of the lap. You're going to take it and you're going to mark where you're going to mark it here. You can see I've marked the, so that when you are sewing, the front will not be longer than the back. As you can see, that's it. So I'm going to form another line, and that's the line I'm going to use a curve for. I want to use a curve to connect this line. As you can see, all this place you are seeing the allowances, this is the actual sewing line. So which means this one will go like this. And you can see this one will go like this. You can still decide to who come in for the sewing allowance. You don't want the sewing allowance, you can do it like this. If you don't want this sewing allowance, you can remove it and just do it like so and leave this one for the waist. But most time your adjustment is going to be on the waist side. So this is how you draft a basic trouser. What is remaining now is just to cut it. Then you're going to find your dart. Your dart placement is going to be the back waist divided by 2. 9 divided by 2 will give us 4.5. This is where your dart will be. This is where your dart will be. So let's cut it. So now you see the outcome. You see how flat it is. You can see where the gator for the back stop, just a little bit after the front pocket. As you can see, then I see this part that I'm telling you about to make this place a little bit flat, to make it flat, so that when you fold when you leave your trouser, look at the outcome. You can see how flat it is on the inside of the trouser. You can see how flat it is. So looking at the front, you see that where the gator stopped about how many inches above, about how many inches above, a little bit above the wet pocket. See the waistband is flush properly, everything flush properly. The side seam, you see how flat it is. Look at the pocket, you see. So this is how you make your corporate trouser.